Mesha.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. Welcome to the Gut Diaries.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I want to know what life was like before you got seriously ill.
I was normal. Well, kind of normal. I'm as normal as I can be.
Yeah.
I had a really good, healthy childhood, like no health implications.
Then you suddenly got appendicitis, but you weren't aware of it.
Yeah, so I had an undiagnosed appendicitis. I was at university studying high performance coaching and nutrition, being a student.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just felt really ill.
What, just suddenly it came on really quickly?
Yeah, it came on really suddenly. I had like a really deep rooted pain in the lower part of my abdomen. 3 GPs came to visit me. They said it's gastroenteritis, which is just like a stomach bug. Drink lots of fluid.
Were you
and that's what I
double
done.
ending or just vomiting?
Just bringing up a lot of bile, which I thought was very unusual. And I lost about a stone in 7 days. So my dad came actually in the end and was like, "You don't look right. We're going to the hospital now." And that's exactly what we did.
Oh my God, so it was down to your dad taking you. Appendicitis can be really easily kind of disguised, can't it?
It's also the most common surgical procedure
Yeah.
in the UK. So I was very frustrated at the beginning point that I didn't get a diagnosis, but the digestive system is complicated, so I get it.
Yeah. What happened when you got to the hospital?
So I walked into Southampton Hospital. I remember it really clearly. And I remember walking up to the informations desk and then I just felt really faint. I collapsed and actually knocked 2 of my teeth out. And then I woke up when someone was putting a catheter in. So, you know, that was a bit of a shock.
So you must have been out for a long time.
My body must have just given up. Like I was sat in bed for about a week. So I think just the moving to the hospital was just a shock to my system. And yeah, I just collapsed. And then after I had the catheter fitting, again, I don't really remember a lot, but I was in induced coma for about 3 weeks. At that point, I was given a 20% chance. So like it was like really touch and go for my family as well. And basically what they had to do is go in, cut me via a 9-inch incision in my abdomen. And then every day for about 9 hours, I had to go down to theatre. They'd wash all my internal organs out. And then they would do what's called a vac pack, which is where they kind of leave all of your insides outside of you. So I looked pregnant, but I was just completely passed out.
Oh my God.
So I remember waking up and my arms were like the size of twiglets and I weighed about 5 stone.
Oh
so I had to learn to like walk, eat, and I was like irrecognizable. Like if you saw an image of me, I was just skin and bone, literally. As a young bloke at the age of like 21, I was very like body conscious.
Yeah.
I trained all the time. I was very fit and healthy. And all of a sudden I lost all of that progression and had to start back at square one again, like move back to my mum's house. I had to put a hold on my university degree. It was a lot to deal with. As much as, you know, physically it was challenging. The body's smart, it can evolve, it can adapt. But your mind, yeah, is a completely different thing.
How long did it take you to recover after you came out of the coma?
So I kind of think of my story in 2 broken halves, because the initial part of it was the burst appendix. And then, you know, my mind at that time was like, right, I'm 5.5 stone, but I can get better now. I've not got any other health implications. I can just become myself again. It would take a bit of time, be patient. And that's exactly what I'd done. I'd done that for about 8 months. And then at the 8-month mark, I started getting other adverse effects, which I kind of thought initially was something that maybe they didn't do properly inside. Like they didn't sew me up properly. So I was going to the toilet initially maybe 3 to 4 times a day, and it was becoming more and more loose. And I was like, okay, something isn't right. Then I started noticing speckled blood in the toilet, which again was concerning. And then that turned very quickly from going 3 to 4 times a day to like 50 times a day to the toilet. And it was like pure liquid and a lot of blood.
Oh my God, how terrifying.
Yeah, it was really terrifying. I started going to the GP. They were running a number of tests on me. Eventually, after about 6 to 8 months of testing, I was diagnosed with inflammatory bowel disease. And that, for me, was a real positive thing. Because all of a sudden now I was like, I've got an answer. I've got something I can work with here.
Yeah.
Because where I struggled the most was the loss of hope.
Yeah.
I had no hope.
And the not knowing.
Yeah, it was a really unknown situation, which was terrible. If we fast forward to that diagnosis of IBD, the initial treatment phase of that is medication. So I went from being someone who was going to the gym 5-6 times a week to taking 16 tablets to start my day. And, you know, these weren't cures. They were just to make me feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
And the only way I can explain it to people is it was almost like I was on 20% charge. Yeah, so I was a bit jittery. I was in my own world, but I was getting by.
But you had that for 4 years with your IBD.
Yeah, so I lived with IBD for around 4 years active whilst treating it medication. I kind of just felt like I was existing.
Yeah.
I wasn't living my life.
Yeah.
And then it came to a pinnacle turning point where I was like, I couldn't go on holiday, I couldn't hold down a job, I couldn't do anything. And I thought, how can I change this? What can I do to take control back? And this is where I opened up the conversation about having surgery and having a stoma fitted.
So when did you have the stoma fitted?
The stoma was fitted on the back end of 2016. I didn't perceive it as something that was extremely negative. I knew it would be like a struggle, and it was a struggle. Like, you know, someone in your early 20s all of a sudden having a bag of poo in your stomach isn't like the greatest chat line.
Yeah.
So I knew it would come with its own challenges, but for me, I was like, this is my future, and I need to do something about this.
And when did you start taking Simprove?
So I started taking Simprove about, got to be over 3.5 years ago now. And that started actually off the back of my partner taking it, because she's got, not as extreme as me, but she's got some colorectal issues herself.
Oh my God, you're a right parent.
Yeah, I know, yeah, the madhouse, and my dog has as well.
Oh no, join the family.
Yeah, so she started taking it initially, and I was like, oh, well, I'll pop this into my routine as well, why not? I've got nothing to lose, and that's how it started, really.
What do you notice the change in your body when you took it?
It's being conscious of knowing that you might not have an instant effect with things like this. Yeah, so that's the first thing we say. Like, some people think like you're going to drink this fluid.
It's not a magic immediate cure.
Yeah, it's a collective of multiple things that you're doing in order to facilitate the best version of you.
I mean, do you mind showing me your what's it called, stoma?
Yes.
Do you mind showing me?
Yeah, I can show you. So here you go, I've got my belt on this.
Oh my God, it's like my magic knickers.
It's hidden, it's hidden. Here we go.
So you designed that, didn't you?
So this belt, yes, but not these.
Yeah. So you designed the belt, and that just keeps it in place and makes you feel secure.
Exactly, As much as it's a protection thing for security, it's also
a confidence thing.
Yeah, it's a confidence thing as well. Obviously, naturally, when you've got, like I said earlier, like when you've got a bag full of poo in your stomach, it's quite a difficult thing to explain to some people what that is. It's why I'm quite open about it, because the more that we talk about these things, the more that you destigmatize them and take away the fear aspect out of it. Like, if someone can see it visually, they can come to terms with it more. Whereas if you are just talking about it in context, you don't know what you're actually having done as that procedure, so it's quite daunting. But yeah, it literally is, and this is what I try to explain to people, all this fear, all this no conversation for a tiny little bag on your stomach.
Yeah.
Like, it's, do you know what I mean? It's not really a big deal, is it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you wouldn't have even known I had it.
I would not have known. Thanks to you being so vocal, a lot of other people are going to know. And it, like you say, it takes a lot of the fear out for other people.
And I try not live in a state of what if.
Yeah.
You know, like, naturally you question things when you've been through a lot within your health.
Yeah.
But I really focus on the now, like today, being present. Otherwise your mind is just scattered and then you can't move forward then.
Yeah, you do that basically, aren't you? Let's be honest. I think that's the greatest lesson you can pass on.
Yeah.
It's just live for the moment, because we have no control over the past.
Yeah, you don't know.
Control over the well, we do have a little bit more. I think health-wise, we do have more control over our future, and by giving our body its best shot, by taking Simprove or eating really healthily, exercise, that future can look
completely different.
Safer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, Mesha, you've taught me so much. I've learnt so much, and I'm in awe of you. Should we get Dr. Chris in?
Let's do it.
Come on, Dr. Chris, come on in.
Hi.
How are we doing?
Good, thank you. How are you guys?
Yeah, very well.
So, we have a big story here, and I think it would be great to understand more about what's been going on in Mesha's tummy and his condition.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing your story, Mesha. So it's really shown that Mesha has a condition called ulcerative colitis. I know there's a question whether there's an element of Crohn's disease, and that can be part of what we call inflammatory bowel disease. And that sort of condition where we don't know if it's ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease is actually called indeterminate colitis. And that's basically a generic term, and that relates to inflammation of the colon, and in IBD it's thought to be due to a problem with the immune system.
Oh, so that's where it comes from. It's a specific immune system or lack of within your belly.
Yeah, so
your
what usually
lining.
happens with our immune system is when we come in contact with an infection, our body produces an immune response, and that's upregulated to fight the infection. Then once we clear the infection, the body's immune system downregulates again and goes back to normal. What sometimes happens in conditions like ulcerative colitis is that immune system is basically overreactive and continues even though there's no infection, and actually damages the lining of the gut.
Oh my goodness, did you know that?
There's a lot going on. I've learnt some new bits as well, which is always nice, isn't it?
Okay, so it is, like we were discussing earlier, it is a question that sometimes you can be kind of attacked from the inside out.
Yeah, so there's definitely a sort of immune response that we're looking into as a potential cause for inflammatory bowel disease.
So how can Simprove support Mesha going forward with his kind of holistic, healthy approach?
Exactly, and I think Mesha alluded to it perfectly, that it is part of a holistic
Yeah.
approach. And sort of supporting the gut helps to make the gut feel better, and also our overall health, which is really important.
Mesha, you're my new hero. You're amazing. And this has been the Gut Diaries. Thank you for watching.